I love it. So no matter what's going on, love has to be my decision. I have to make a decision to love. Love is a choice. What an incredible idea. It gives us the power. And today I really want to empower you. I want to feel that power within myself. The power of making the decision for love. The power of making the decision for perfection. The power of making a decision for acceptance. So this week begins the Lenten season. We began on Wednesday, the 40 days leading up to your resurrection. Doesn't matter if anybody else resurrected, if you don't. And I'm going to look at it in a very particular way, in a modern terms, because that's how you might be able to benefit most from it. You're getting a whole new operating system, that you're learning to operate differently. And so at Unity, we have a great, wonderful way to keep what we call a true Lent. And that's fasting and feasting. If you haven't gotten this little booklet, Fasting and Feasting, there's a few left, perhaps at the table in the back. And when they're all gone, you might have to go online and order them from Unity Worldwide, which is what we did. So we're fasting from negativity. We're feasting on positive expressions of love and hope. Positive expressions of the certainty of the one power and the one presence that's active in the universe and in my life. And that part's really important. The one power that's active in the universe is also active in my life. But I have to make the decision to turn the switch on, to activate it. Because there is one power and one presence in the universe. But if I'm acting like there's two powers, that there's an opposition to love, that there's an opposition to wholeness and perfection, then guess what? I'm the opposition. Because whatever I'm thinking is what I'm representing to you and to myself in the world. And so it's really important that we fast from those ideas that don't serve us any longer, and that we feast on the truth. Marcus Aurelius, he was a Roman emperor. He was known as the last good emperor in Rome. There was 5 generations. There was 5 what they call good emperors. And he was the final one. And he was a philosopher as well. And he said that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. We don't think of a Roman emperor as coming up with such cool ideas, right? These unity philosophy ideas. But that is what the Buddha said. That's what Lao Tzu said. That's what Jesus was trying to teach us. Let the mind be in you, which was also in him, who thought it not robbery to be equal with God. Come on, guys. You thought it not robbery to be equal with that which created you. The problem is that we separate ourselves by the activity of our thinking. And when we feast on truth, it's not only an activity of our mind, but it's our feelings and our beliefs and our actions. So we have to upgrade our thought system. But I think even more than that, we have to allow for a complete update of our operating system completely. Not just our thought system, but how we operate in the world is so important. And that includes your feelings, that includes your beliefs, and that includes your actions. You can't just believe these true ideas and don't act upon them. The 5th principle of unity is it's not enough to know these principles. I must live them. And so that's what we want to do. And if we can just begin to practice it little by little during this season for 40 days, we will find an incredible resurrection of our Christ self by the time we get to Easter. And I'm going to be here celebrating with you, because I know right now some of you might not be feeling like you're fully in your Christ nature or your Buddha nature, which is the same thing. Your inherent goodness, your inherent power, your inherent perfection, your inherent knowledge, your inherent spiritual identity. That's your Christ nature. And sometimes I don't always feel like I'm totally there. living from my Christ nature. And so that's why I practice these things. And this is a wonderful practice because the whole idea of fasting and feasting and upgrading our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings is that I can operate differently. And so how I do it is if when I feel fear, I'm fasting from fear thoughts and I'm feasting on love. Great. You guys are advanced. Right? Because we only have two emotions, love and fear. But in order to get to love, sometimes we need a little faith. So in our fasting and feasting, we are going to feast on faith. We're going to have faith that love will always show me what to do. That I can make the decision for love even when it seems impossible. Even when I don't want to do it. You know, it just seems like a lot more fun to disagree with you. It seems a lot more fun to get together with you and complain about the other guys. No, I can't do that anymore because ultimately it's not fun. And it creates a lot of discord and disharmony, not just in my world, but within myself. And I don't want to feel that way within myself. I want to feel at harmony with myself and with my Christ nature. So I'm fasting from fear, I'm feasting on faith and love. We'll get to that a little bit later. But what I'd like to look at is this idea of faith. James Dillett Freeman was a great unity author. And he wrote all of our poems. He wrote the prayer for protection. He sent some of his poems to the moon. He's amazing. And so he wrote something about faith, which is so cool. Faith is not so much a matter of mind as it is of the heart. Faith is not so much a matter of the mind as it is of the heart. Something in seeking to understand God as principle, sometimes we lose sight of God as presence. Right? Feel the love in the sanctuary. Right? Feel the love, the presence. Feel it. The presence of God. Sometimes we get away from that because we're thinking of God in conceptual terms. But I want to feel the presence. And beyond that, to have faith is not to theorize about God or even imagine God, but to experience God. Feel the love in the sanctuary. It's the same thing. We just want to experience it. And the more that we raise our awareness of the presence of God, the more we will experience it, and the more others will experience it just by your presence. Just by being present. God is present. That's the most wonderful thing about it, is that you're actually having an effect on those around you. So you guys are very advanced, this side of the room. They said the opposite of love, fear, is love, right? The opposite of... Did you guys say the same thing? Yes. Okay, I love them too.
We were thinking it.
And the ones in the middle were thinking it. They're the most advanced of all. Because as they thought it, I was speaking it. The miracle. They were experiencing it. Wow, this is incredible. Do you get the idea that you're actually delivering the message through me? That's what's really going on here. I'm just the mouthpiece. I'm standing up here. You guys are thinking it, feeling it, believing it, and I'm saying it. Isn't that cool? And that's a miracle. We're shifting from fear of each other, from fear of all these things that we see out there, to what? Love, a perception of love. But what if it's something that I really don't like? And I really can't find the love in that sanctuary. What happens? Do I avoid it? No. I stay there and accept it. Because there's a in this book, there's a page that says, instead of resisting, I accept. I'm feasting on acceptance. I accept what is. Yeah, the passing of a loved one. My mom passed recently too. And yeah, I was crying. I still feel sad and angry and all these different emotions. But accepting the emotions allows me to not only love my mom and the memory of her, like her being, but to love myself. Like it allows, instead of feeling this sense of loss, I'm starting to feel more and more and more all that she gave me. Like the memories are flooding in of more and more of what she taught to me and how she supported myself and Liliana. That was her purpose in life, was to take care of her kids. I mean, even when we were 50, 60 years old, she's still treating us like little kids. And I used to get mad, like back in my 30s, but then when I got older, I loved it. I was like, I'm still a little kid. Because your mom's always going to treat you like a little kid. Jan, your mom's 104? 102. Okay. My grandmother was 104. And she probably still treats you like her little girl, right?
You're going to put your sweater on?
Right. You got to put your sweater on. It's cold out there. Don't forget your booties. It's amazing. So for me, it shifted from fear of loss of my mom to the love, the intense love of everything that she gave to me. Intense love flooding in. It's a shift from fear to love. And if you're afraid of something, if you just accept it totally as what it is, as how it is right now, the faster it can shift. Because it's not saying you have to be there, but the miracle is allowing the shift in your perception. And so total acceptance of how things are appearing right now is going to allow you that shift. How many have experienced that? All of you, most of you here. And even if you're going through some kind of illness, what do? I surrender. I surrender to the healing force within me. It's the most powerful thing that I can do is surrender and allow the Spirit of the living God within me to take over. That's where all the healing occurs. We're not going to fight against it. We're not going to resist evil. We're going to accept. So we're fasting from resistance, and we are feasting on acceptance. We're fasting from fear, and we're feasting on love.
You know what I just told me about people that have passed on?
Yes, Lori?
I write a journal. I write about them and I make journals for them.
Beautiful.
Because what I did with Aunt Betty, my Aunt Betty's whole family passed away. And I have a whole series of journals on all of them.
Wow. Can I share that with everyone? Yeah, so what Lori does is she writes a journal for each person that's passed on and writes all the loving memories, and she writes about them. Isn't that wonderful? So she keeps them alive for her, and she can also have conversation that way.
Yeah, and I write journals, I write goals with them, and education. I did that for the Betty's whole family, including my family.
She does it for everybody's family, not just her own. Bless you, Lori. We love you. Thank you. I love that. In order to do that, you have to be pretty present. And so what we also do is fast from distractions, and we are fully present in the here and now. We're fully present in whatever we're doing. We're fasting from insecurity, and we're feasting on confidence. We're fasting from competition, and we're feasting on cooperation. Isn't that incredible? Cooperation is the antidote for competition. I don't care who you are or what you believe or how you... If we are here together, then we have to be in cooperation, at least in acceptance that we are in this moment together for a reason. And then once we find or discover that reason, we're going to cooperate in expressing that purpose together. And I love that. That makes us inclusive. That helps us to welcome diversity. It helps us to realize that we're all in this together and we're all part of the same human family. And we have the purpose of evolving this species together. And so acceptance is huge, and cooperation is how we express that acceptance. There was one that I wanted to read to you guys because I have a quote that's connected to it. And I'm going to find it. It's right here in this little book that you all have. It's Feasting from Limitation and, Fasting. It's one letter, come on. Fasting from limitation and feasting on freedom. Isn't that wonderful? That's an incredible idea, that the opposite of limitation is freedom. I have the freedom to discover that I am unlimited. I have the freedom to discover more and more about myself and the world around me as a part of this glorious creation. I am free. The season of Lent is a powerful opportunity to support the revelation of my Christ nature, my Buddha nature. The same thing, my inherent goodness. I feast on freedom and freely choose anew how to best fulfill my divine potential. So again, it's a choice of how to best fulfill my divine potential. I'm making the decision for love. I'm making the decision right here and right now to allow my Christ nature to come to the forefront and take over, to guide me, to move me, to be how I'm represented in this world. Let the Christ represent me, not my ego. I think it's an amazing thing. We're going to fast from blame and feast also on forgiveness. And isn't that wonderful? Feast on forgiveness. I'm going to feast on the truth that forgiveness offers me, and therefore I'll be able to see the Christ nature in you no matter how it's showing up. Doesn't matter how it's showing up. I'm going to look beyond that to the Christ nature because that's what I want to see. I want to see that in you because that's what I want to be. If I see it in you, I'm going to therefore see it in myself. I think that's an incredible idea. That which I give to you is what I'm going to receive. That's an amazing idea. So let us really take a step. We're going to fast again. We're going to fast from something. We're going to fast from destructive self-talk. Whatever I'm telling myself within my own mind. If it's destructive, if it's negative, if I'm putting myself down in any way, I'm going to fast from that. I'm going to just say, today I'm not going to do that. And when I start to do it again, I'm going to stop myself. Just start doing it for one day. Start for 1 hour. Because you all know that we do it. You all know that you find something that you're doing that you're blaming yourself for. Something that's not right. Something that is going wrong. Something you're not enough, or you're not beautiful enough, or you don't have enough money, or you're not spiritual enough, or you're not doing it right. And if you're really bad, you're an adult child of an alcoholic, sometimes you get really bad. If somebody falls down across the street, that was my fault. Somehow I tripped him. And so we just do that. We just blame ourselves for so many things. And we just think if we were somehow different, that we would be awesome. You're awesome right now. You don't have to change yourself one bit. I want to tell you, standing up here and looking out there, I can see that you are awesome. You are magnificent. You are gorgeous. You are powerful. You are peaceful. You are abundant. You are a blessing in my life. When I count my blessings, I count you twice. Yay, she liked that one. Lori, you're amazing. I count you 3 times. And it's just, that's what I'm feasting on. I'm feasting on the blessings that you are. And so we can fast from all that no longer serves us. Just stop doing all of it. When you notice yourself doing it again, feast on self-affirming self-talk. Feast on things that are the truth about you. Feast on all of your accomplishments. Feast on how far that you've come already. Feast in your growth, how much you have grown. Just think about this past couple of months even, this past year, or 5 years ago, how different you are in your consciousness today. Because we are evolving in consciousness. And we are evolving rapidly now. We're feasting from everything that no longer serves us. And we're fasting on that truth. The spiritual promises that we know are true. The spiritual promises of spiritual living that align us with our highest good. That's our job. We need to do that. That's your first job. Forget everything else. You think your first job is getting out in the morning and doing whatever it is you need to do. Your first job is aligning with the divine in you. Let's align with the divine. How about that? Isn't that great? It even rhymes. Align with the divine. That's almost as good as welcome to the flow.
That could be Unity's slogan.
Well, yeah, we would be stealing it from some other unities. So, the important thing is that you do it, that you actually align with the divine in you. Can we do that this week? Make a decision to do that? All right, that's what I'm going to do. And when I'm not, just remind me. Tony, align with the divine. That's what I'll remind you too. I will. Because the will of God for me, in truth, is perfect happiness. If I'm experiencing anything but total joy and the recognition of divine perfection unfolding in every situation and condition of my life, then it's my responsibility to do something about it. I can't wait for somebody else to do something about that. Because God's will for me is already perfect happiness. I am supposed to be experiencing perfect happiness. When I'm not, it's my job to do something about it. If I want health in my body, I'm going to fast from certain things. And I'm going to feast on those things which keep my body healthy and vital. It's the same with the spiritual life. It's the same thing. I have to fast from those things that clog up my consciousness. And I have to feast on those things that set me free, that keep me vital and alive and really expanding constantly. So the last thing that I want to say here is we need to take a step. Now here's the step I would like to take, is to acknowledge that I have the power to determine what my life looks like. I want everyone to get that in your consciousness totally, that you have the power. You have all the power of your life. It's all up to you. You hold the power to determine what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what you're believing. And all those things that you're feeling are coming from what you're thinking and what you're believing and how you're responding to this world and to everyone, to yourself even. How am I responding to myself? You hold the power to influence the world around you by raising your vibration, by sharing in this feast of spiritual knowledge and power. You have the power to raise your vibration. So in the beginning here, we saw from Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. But I'm going to take it another step further, because in the modern age, the quality of our lives actually depends, the happiness of our lives actually depends on the quality of our vibration, the frequency of our vibration. It's everything. It's your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and your actions. That's your vibration, everything. How are you vibrating? What frequency are you vibrating on? That's the important thing. How are people responding who are around you? Are your words and your beliefs and your actions and your thoughts all in alignment Are they aligned with the divine? We have to take it that step. We have to say, the happiness of my life depends on what I'm feasting on, the quality of my vibration. Wow, that means that I have the power. Like I said, I have the power of not only what I'm feeling or what's happening in my life, but really what's happening in the world. When we still think that it's going on out there, it's going to seem worse and worse and worse. Because there'll always be factors that we think need to change out there for me to be happy. Not true. The happiness of my life depends on the quality of my vibration. And so I'm going to vibrate in alignment with the divine, bring forth my Christ nature, and allow that to also come from you. I'm going to inspire you, but just by being in that vibration, to also do the same thing. It's so great, guys, that you don't have to go out and preach or teach to anybody. You just vibrate. Just be in that vibration. And I know you're doing it. So stay there and feast on the truth of who you are, my friends. We know that if we do this, not only will we be happy, but this entire species of humankind is going to get a little happier and a little happier and a little happier. And then the shift, then the miracle comes. Then the big shift from fear to love. Whoosh. That's when it happens. It happened for you, didn't it? So it can happen for everyone else. I love you guys. Stay in the truth. Be a blessing.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.